So let's go ahead and get started, guys, with the end of day webinar for today. It is Thursday, October 13th, 2016. Again, the late day today was pretty slow, just like yesterday, but I'd like to go over some of the ideas from this morning and just make sure everyone's on board with you know, how we look at these and what we were looking at this morning on the live stream. So if you guys remember my pre-market commentary, I was mentioning a few different things on this one. First off, that the chart had this look to it, and just keeping in mind pre-market is anything before this blue line right here. So pre-market, it had this look to it like it was trending up, and then it pulled in like a classic short wedge pattern right here, like right out of our playbook, lower high, and then it came right back, and it looked like a bear trap. And it kind of was a little mini bear trap. So what I was thinking was, there's two things I was looking at. One is, if it breaks the pre-market high right there of 805, we'd probably get a nice rip. And two is, if we get under 790, it's going to trigger a short for me. The reason why I said, remember pre-market, I was sort of saying that I like to actually wait 3, 4, maybe 5 even minutes sometimes, just to make sure that we're on the right side. With a trade like this, you can see that in the same minute that it broke that 805 level, it hit almost, what, 825. In that same 1 minute, it reversed completely, and in the second minute of the trading day, it was already below 90. So there's a few things to consider. One, if you did play that long, and I actually passed on that, I thought it looked good. This sort of cut pattern and then break through the pre-market, not the pre-market high, but the high of the last peak here. I thought it looked good, and I probably could have taken that through 805, and I probably would have shoved some out into 20, and then the rest I would have probably stopped for a flat. But not everyone's as fast with the keyboard and the hotkeys and stuff like that, especially newer traders can get really jammed up in that first few minutes. So always good, and today I don't regret it. You know, it worked really well. I just waited for that to play out. We had a huge rush of volume in the morning, probably a good amount of short covering for those that maybe got caught in the bear trap down here. And then probably the buyers that were looking for like a morning rip. Anyways, I could probably think of a chat room or two who would have played this type of setup and got long. Luckily, we waited and we just got that big reversal candle. And just exactly as per plan, I was going to look for a lower high around 790. It went just over 790. And sometimes I'll scale in right there. Or you can let it test, make sure it's confirmed, and then hit it back on the way down here. So maybe, I think, I forget, it was a smart trader said he ended up with an 80 average. So he might have waited just a little bit longer for the confirmation. But I like to scale in right on the push if I can. And that way, maybe only just a few hundred shares to get in. That way, if it does whatever, like right back up to 805, it's only a tiny risk. But as soon as it's confirmed, I like to hit the bid with more. And then you can see lower highs came in. The target on this trade was 740, and it hit it with ease, no problem at all. So that was really solid. And then we anticipated this 40 as a possible base, and it bounced exactly like we said it might. And, you know, save you the trouble of having to sit through this bounce. And that's just, again, when we come back to what I was talking about before, and in regards to the newsletter I sent out last night, is that every trader in our group has a different personality and a different trading style and different goals and different risk tolerance levels, and we understand that. So what works for one person may not work for someone else. So what works for me may not work for you know, Smart Trader or JB, and what works for JB might not work exactly for me. But at the end of the day, it's all about having a system that we can tweak that works for you, for your personality and for your trading style. So, you know, we give you the setups that we play. I'll give you the ideas of the trades that I'm trading. But at the end of the day, you might be comfortable. You might be okay with sitting through this bounce and maybe even adding more short in your VWAP. That's where the difference comes in, is that for someone like me, like what I like to do is I nail the trade, have a target. I like to get it pretty much all out here. The rest of it would have came out right here, and then I'll actually re-add. After it bounces, I'll get back in the trade once I see that it's confirming weakness again. So I like to get in, out, and then sometimes I'll get back in again, whereas Trader B might be totally fine with entering this trade and then sitting through all this action, and that's totally fine too. And that's where the difference can come in between trader A and trader B. And that's why we think it's so important that not only should you not just, you know, blindly follow or try to blindly follow our trades or our ideas, but to have your own sort of system that you can tweak based on the rules that I use and based on the triggers and the setups that I use, so that they can sort of, you know, more or less fit your trading strategy. So anyone that's new and comes to our group, the first thing I recommend doing is watching our video on, it's called Tips for Account Building. It's maybe one of the best webinars we've done as a group, and it's been really helpful for a lot of people. So Tips for Account Building goes over in detail how to set, you know, specific rules for your trading that are going to do nothing but help you make more money. And you're only really hurting yourself if you're not going to follow those rules or create them. So as you can see, I keep them right on my desk. I keep them right on my notepad here on the desktop for two reasons. One is so that I can you know, read them, remember them, and see them and have them in my face at all times. And two is to help you guys. So a lot of people, what they do is they'll start by adopting these specific tips for account building from me, which is a great starting point. You know, use that as your starting point. But then because I'm trader A and you're trader B, well, you might say like, okay, well, something might be different for you. For example, you might be like, well, I don't really care about nailing the entry and bailing. And this is more or less I don't necessarily always do that, but you guys know that I'm really, really big on entry. So, but maybe, you know, maybe trader B, being the other guy, you know, is okay with starting in small on a trade like this a little early, and it's okay to go against him a little bit, and then he'll add in. He has a plan. Ultimately, he has a trading plan, you know, stop out over 70 or something like that. But with his trading style, it allows him a little more wiggle room because he's comfortable with it, because he's a different trader with a different personality, and that's 100% fine. But what I want to do for you guys, okay, is I want you to be able to, first of all, understand my trading strategy, how I use it, and then I want you to tweak it to fit your personality so you can be comfortable with it. And that you can, you know, for example, I mean, if I'm saying that I'm looking for a short on OCUL, 790 on a retest and rejection, well, for you, if that doesn't meet your trading criteria, or if you're like JB and you really just look for long setups, then really you shouldn't be taking that trade, right? Do you see what I'm saying? So what I really want to do for you guys is have everybody here have a specific trading system that you've tailored to meet your personality and that you're 100% comfortable with, so that you can, you know, you can still hear my commentary, and then you might say, actually, I really like Jeff's idea on this trade, but then you might actually say, you know what, the idea on this next trade is pretty good, but it doesn't actually meet my personal criteria for a trade, so I'm going to pass on that one. Do you see what I'm saying? So first thing I recommend is adopt these rules, trade with them for a little while, and then tweak them. And if you want a full explanation on my, you know, tips for account building and what I think is the best thing for you to do, check out that video in the members portal. It's a very, very big help. It could make a huge, huge difference in your trading by just simply following a few simple rules. I'm not going to go over in detail what they are now because the video is there for that. But so yeah, you should have basically a set of criteria that you want to meet in each trade that that can trigger you, for example, for a long or for a short. For example, for me, if I know that there's a huge bull trap, a bunch of traders got caught, 500,000 shares traded in 1 minute, and then it breaks through the level we were watching, 790 from pre-market, I know that if this gets, you know, if this amount of volume goes through in the morning and then it rejects it and then it retests that level and it puts in a lower high, that is 100% with my trading system, that's a short trigger for me. So I will short that every single time. But it may not be for you. So just experiment a little bit with some of the ideas and then see what works for you. And I want you to tweak it, and I will help you tweak it. The best way to do that, guys, is to have a trading journal. I think that for some, like, the thing is, like, you know, some people are a little different. Some people do a lot of scalps during the day. Some people just want the best setups. Like JB may only trade. I think yesterday he was 1 for 1. He took one trade, and it was on, oh, what was it? That really slow moving one, but it's set up nicely with consolidation. VOXX. That was the only time he got a trigger all day. Actually, he had one more, but he missed it. So that is discipline. You know, that is trading a system. And that is going to really increase your probability of success, right? If scalping is part of your strategy, then okay. But I'm trying to kind of wean it out of mine a little bit, because I do as a prop trader in my early 20s, I did get a lot of valuable scalping skills, and I used to do it a lot in the first 5 minutes of the day, because I tend to be pretty good in that morning volatility. So if there's a big spike, I'll, you know, get 10 cents here, 15 cents there, and just pad my morning with a quick 100 or 200 bucks, and use that to leverage my big trade of the day. Is what I do a lot of the time. But lately, I've just been kind of cutting that out and trying to really just stick to a specific trading system, and I'm trying to encourage you guys to do the same, because I think that we'll all see actually better results that way. So, and then if we just want to take a look at a possibility for like what you might consider as your long trading system. Maybe you're like me, and you want to see, first of all, some good volume in a stock that's up on the day. So write down your criteria. So like 1, the stock has to be over VWAP, has to be. 2, the stock has to be doing more above average volume. 2, 3, the stock has to have a nice run up, correction, and then a consolidation. So just like on HTGM yesterday, this is where my buy trigger came in. So a big run up, higher low, big run up, a little too extended up here, nice correction, and then it tried 3 times to get under 310. It couldn't quite get there, and the trade was a little more clear on BSPM, which was a similar setup, but it traded sideways for like 20 minutes, which is way more bullish. Gives you more time to get involved. But when I'm looking at the setup and that volume comes in on this candle, that's a buy trigger, and the stop is just under 310. So, you know, maybe what you want to think about is the stock over VWAP? Check. Is it doing above average volume? Check. The stock is in play. So basically when I say nice run-up correction, just basically like, is it in play? Is it doing, you know, that's number 2 really. If it's doing above average volume, it's probably in play. So then a correction and consolidation. And then a low risk trade plan. So the reason why we like a consolidation is because it helps us get a clear defined risk area. So if the stock's trading sideways like that, then we know at the bottom of that channel, for example, if it breaks 310 right here, then we know the trade's over. Then that's not going to work. But also what we know is, guys, is that this stock is a low float runner. It's doing a ton of volume. It has potential to run, and the risk is 10 cents versus the reward, which is potentially 10 to 1 or more. I mean, this is a huge risk reward scenario here. So ask yourself, low risk trade plan, and then 5, does the RR make sense? That's a good starting point, you know? And then if you just focus on maybe just 1 or 2 setups that you really like, and then for shorting, your system may be like, it has to be 1, under VWAP. 2, has to have a lower high so I can set risk, etc. Okay? So guys, let's start getting everybody to find out what works for them. I want you to find your niche and help you develop that and exploit it as best as possible. I want every single person in our group consistently making money, and I think the best way to do that is to tweak a trading system based on my rules, based on my setups, to your personality type until we get it right. And then the hardest part sometimes, the hardest part sometimes is just waiting for the trigger. How many times have you spent an afternoon like this afternoon after nailing a trade on OCUL this morning? How many times have you then nailed this trade and then spent all the rest of the afternoon playing stuff that makes no sense with setups that aren't there and low volume chop and then just losing all the money back to the market, right? So that's the idea, is that patience is going to be a huge part of playing this market, especially in the late afternoon. So let's try to stay patient. Let's play smart and know your system, know your setup, know your triggers, stick to them. Use my commentary like you do to confirm your ideas, but don't trade just because I'm trading. Trade because you see something in it, you have a risk plan, and you believe in the idea. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that for tonight. We'll do a watch list in the morning tomorrow. I'm hoping we can finish the week strong. It's been a really good week so far. The morning action has been phenomenal. And if the mid-afternoon's slow, just feel free to leave for the day. Lock in your profits and enjoy the rest of your day, guys. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, guys.